Hey guys, Boston Chris here with the 7th episode of the Chris and Kadie show featuring myself and Miss Kadie Lynn over there on the right of your screen to my, yeah, I guess it would be my right as well. Kadie, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We've been, Kadie and I always talk just before we go on the air and we have to get the nerves out or whatever. And so we've both had some wins, we've both had some losses today, and I'm sure we'll probably discuss those things over time today. I don't know if Kadie wants to discuss what she's found out, but we'll find out a little bit later in the show. But first, let's try to pay some bills. I gotta say a huge thank you to once again HyperX, the number one gaming peripheral company in North America, for sponsoring another episode. And I want to remind everybody out there that you can also sponsor, whether you're an individual or a company. Just email me at thechrisandkadieshow@gmail.com. We'll get you on the screen here somewhere. We'd love to have your support for sure. What else do we have on the agenda here? A quick update on Giovanni Yanez from Giovanni and the Hired Guns. They have decided to, and rightfully so in my opinion, continue to cancel their shows through the end of June. I think they're doing the right thing here, and Giovanni's taking his time and being patient and probably being really well loved, and that makes me really happy because he deserves it.
Agreed.
They're very
Absolutely.
talented. On the other side of the coin, we're going to get directly into our celebrity deaths of the week. We have a lot to talk about tonight, Kadie. Lots to unpack.
Yeah,
There's
a lot.
yeah,
Okay. Maybe it's just because we have the internet and everything, but it feels like within the past 2 months, you disappeared.
I disappeared. I'm still here, I assure you.
I don't see your camera.
Well, that's on your end.
Anyway,
Same thing happened last week.
within the past couple years, but really past few months, it feels like everyone's dying.
That it happens, right? Like it's like they say they come in threes, but they really don't,
No, they come in like 13s.
right? I feel you. And I mean, this week, obviously, we're not celebrating death, but I do want to be informative on this show. I want to be informative, I want to be educational, and I want to be engaging, entertaining.
Mhm.
I want people to tune in for the facts and for the fun. And I think we're providing that so far with this format. And I love that. But let's get into it. June 4th, Tom Bauer, who was 86 years old, American actor, best known for. So, yeah, Tom Bauer, best known for Die Hard 2, actor, died at the age of 86. Also on June 4th, C. Gambino, who was 26 years old, was a Swedish rapper, was shot and killed on June 4th.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Um,
Crazy.
I
That he's only got a few years on me.
right, and I mean the rap game is tough, man. Apparently, even in Sweden.
God. The Spades.
I don't think we can blame this one on Diddy.
Probably not.
Although, I mean, what the hell? We blame everything else on Diddy, right?
Might as well.
Yeah, what the Diddy, you son of
Might
a.
as well. Add
Anyway,
another charge.
also on June 4th, Parnelli Jones, who was the 1963 winner of the Indianapolis 500, passed away at the age of 90. June 4th, again, Marvin Upshaw, who was a former NFL football player, died at the age of 77. June 4th was not good for celebrities.
No.
June
Not at
5th,
all.
we had the bassist from Nebula, who was only 32 years old. Ranch Cerrone passed away of leukemia.
That's sad.
Now, very ironic. I don't know if ironic is the right word, but Ranch Cerrone actually replaced Nebula's bassist about a year ago, who also passed away. So, in the last calendar year, Nebula has lost not one but two bassists.
That sounds like they might got some bad juju going on.
I'm thinking perhaps they should just take the bass out of the band.
Yeah, just get like a baritone guitar.
I'm personally speaking, if I'm a bassist, I ain't taking that job, bro. Like, I'm just not. Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Not trying to be funny here, but I ain't taking that job. Saying, saying. June 5th was also the end of Michael Mosley's life. He was 67 years old. He was a British TV journalist and presenter, best known for the shows The One Show, The Story of Science, and The Genius of Invention. He was kind of like a Ryan Seacrest of Britain or England, from what I understand. June 6th, moving on, Nicholas Ball, who was an English actor best known for the show EastEnders, passed away at the age of 78. And this is the ironic death of the week right here. June 7th, an American astronaut and former ambassador to Norway, William Anders, at 90 years old, he was on the Apollo 8 mission, passed away of a plane crash.
Man.
Imagine leaving the Earth and going to space, and then at 90 years old, you die, not of natural causes, but of a plane crash.
He could float, but he couldn't fly.
Golly,
Sorry.
man.
I'm sorry.
That was dark, Kadie Lynn.
I couldn't help it. Okay, it's been in my head like ringing since I read that.
June 7th also met the demise of Rose Marie, who was a Northern Irish singer and TV personality. The good news is, okay, and if we're looking for good news here in the United States, we didn't have a whole lot of U.S. celebrities pass away this week. I really had to dig here, Kadie Lynn.
Well,
so it was a good week-ish for the U.S.
guess
celebrities.
so.
Kinda.
I guess so.
Unless you're a bassist for Nebula, right? But anyway, June 8th, Charlie Lennon, who was an Irish traditional fiddler and composer, died at the age of 85. Now, mind you, anytime I take a bath, I am also a fiddler. I fiddle with my hair all the time. But I cannot play a violin.
I'll probably be doing that the whole episode. I already have the whole start of the guitar.
Charlie was really good, by the way. I actually knew of him. He's a very, very good composer. Also on June 8th, at the age of 84, Chet Walker, who is a Hall of Fame basketball player and former NBA champion, passed away. And honestly, I can make jokes about these when they're 85, 90, 95 years old. I mean, they had a good life. I hope I make it that long. Shit, you know?
Yep.
June 9th, Frank Carroll, 85 years old. He was an American Hall of Fame competitive skater and former figure skating coach as well, passed away. I had to add this one because I thought Kadie, when I typed it in.
You tweaked
me
out.
This is kind of funny in an ironic sense, because this is a real human being and a real celebrity that passed away yesterday. Today's the 10th that we're recording this. Simon Cowell passed away at the age of 72. If you didn't know who Simon Cowell is or was, he was a British TV presenter and conservationalist. He was the founder of the Wildlife Aid Foundation, and he died of lung cancer, and I assure you he never called Kadie Lynn a diamond.
Look, okay, I read that. I was like, I didn't realize Simon was that old. I skimmed. All I got was Simon Cowell, 72, British TV. Okay, that's as far as I got. And I was like, Jackson! And then I saw lung cancer. I was like, what? I was like, how did I not see this, dude?
I was like, I've never heard of this man, but golly, I have to put him down just because this is the Chris and Kadie show, and this, unfortunately, comedy is a part of this show, and dark comedy will be a part of it.
I told Jackson, he said, no way. And then he Googled it, he said, Kadie.
This is not that Simon, ladies and gentlemen. Just so we're clear. Last one that I have, and then I'll let Kadie decide if she wants to announce hers. June 10th, earlier today, and this is kind of a big one if you don't know who this guy is. And I added this because I'm hoping more of you out there will Google this man because golly, what a guy. Honestly. At the age of 95, James Lawson, who was an amazing, amazing human being and former American civil rights activist, died of cardiac arrest early this morning. I implore you guys to Google his name. What a loss, honestly. Kadie, I'll turn it over to you. Do you have anything or do you want me to move on?
I'll go ahead and mention it just because I feel like he's an amazing man and should definitely get a mention. My good friend Michael Moore, he passed away yesterday. He was like one of the first people to like do a photo shoot with me. We met in California during America's Got Talent and everything when I was like 12 or so. We've done photo shoots over the years and stuff, and he's always been a great friend. He was supposed to do my wedding in October, so he's gonna be missed dearly for sure. But amazing guy, go check him out. He's an amazing photographer. He's taken pictures of all kinds of people, like the people from the show Empire, all kinds of. He's freaking awesome.
I've unfortunately never met Michael, but I've heard you talk about him over the years, and I know through you, if you like somebody, I know they have to be awesome. Rest in peace to Michael Moore.
He was a one-of-a-kind person. Someone like always so full of kindness and everything. You don't meet people like that every day.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, did you know? So this is kind of unfair because I tried to get Kadie off guard with the did you knows, but our Google Notes are viewed by both of us. So she's studying this shit way beforehand, and I feel like my did you knows fall short for that reason.
You can hold them to yourself if you want and then bust them out.
But did you know that the average person's nose produces one cup of mucus every single day? Every day. Okay, I think Kadie is producing a little bit more than that. Also, people actually blink around 20 times per minute on average.
I would think it'd be more.
I'm just curious if we did blink more than 20 times, would we produce more mucus? Okay, now spit in the cup. Let's see how much it is. So the heart is the only muscle in the human body that never gets tired.
Mine does.
Your heart does not get tired. And also,
I've been walking too long.
People, all of us, are usually at least 1 centimeter taller in the morning than we are at night. Got me. I think maybe it's that mucus thing, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't
lighter weight.
No idea. Also, this is really interesting. Like fingerprints, every single person on the planet has a smell that is unique to that person, except identical twins. Identical twins smell exactly the same.
Well, I mean, they came from the same place, I guess.
I'm just curious. I'm curious. What if one identical twin hasn't showered in 6 months, and the other one showers daily? How could they possibly have the same smell?
It's just a little extra musk. That's it.
So it's just multiplied, probably, right? Just multiplied. All right. So, also, each person on the planet has a unique tongue print. And believe it or not, I looked this up because when I saw that, I wanted to know because I'm that inquisitive bastard, right? There are actually people in prison that were convicted because of a tongue print. I was about to ask. There's actually people in prison that were convicted because of tongue print technology.
Hell yeah.
Look that shit up. It's a fun wormhole, let me tell you what.
I was going to say, that can be used to, identify someone as well.
Yeah, it has been done. It has been done. Now, I just want to know how the hell they got the tongue print off the convicted felon. You know how you have to roll your fingers and shit? No, I'm not signing up for that shit. What do you mean I have to roll my tongue on your paper? Absolutely not. Nope. I mean, I'm probably just going to confess before I agree to do that, right? No. First of all, how did you get my tongue print at the scene of the crime? Like, who thought of that? Guys, I think that looks like a tongue right there.
I kind of don't necessarily want to know that.
I'm just trying to figure out like the scenario where somebody was like, you know what? That kind of looks like a tongue. I don't know why it's on the bottom of a Reebok, but whatever. So I put out a post earlier this week, Kadie, about people's favorite moments from our first 5 episodes. And we did have a couple of comments. And I want people out there, if you're watching, tell us what your favorite moments from the show have been so far. And like these two folks, I will mention you in a future episode. I want to mention our friends, fans, and supporters here on the show. I want y'all to be part of this just as much as we are. Number 1, Dennis Brown. His favorite moment from our first 5 episodes was when Kadie called Red Lobster fancy.
Listen here, you gotta realize I'm from Cedar Creek Lake. Okay. We got no freaking Red Lobster now.
We ain't got no shrimp restaurants out here at Cedar Creek Lake.
No, you gotta drive like 45 minutes to see a damn Red Lobster.
Or a shrimp of any kind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No Long John Silvers, nothing. Like, everything's gone.
Hey, they do now.
I thought Long John Silver's was gone.
Dude, they replaced the KFC Taco Bell with a sushi place.
Oh, there we go. Now that's fancy. So fancy they didn't cook the fish.
It's still shaped like a Taco Bell. I love it.
Louise Barnes, who is better known as my wife, my better half, my boss, her favorite moment so far was Kadie Lynn's extreme love of gravy.
I love gravy, man. I hope you know, I think about like having gravy with like every meal. Like every meal. Like,
they have gravy at Red Lobster?
Man, if they did.
If they did, they'd probably still be in business, am I right?
They ain't got nothing now.
That's right. That's right. Well, there is one still in East Texas, from what I understand. I don't know where it is, but I was reading somewhere that there is still a Red Lobster.
Man, imagine if it's the one 45 minutes away from me that I'm talking about.
You are not that lucky. Absolutely not. So, we talked about our celebrity deaths. I want to reiterate how this works. For celebrity deaths, we always talk a week before we record. Okay? We recorded on the 10th, so we talk from the 4th to the 10th. Any celebrity that made the news for dying makes that cut. When we talk about the National Days of Celebration, we are talking about the week following the day this episode comes out. And the day this episode comes out is June 21st. And so we're going to talk about the things that we celebrate in the United States between the days of June 21st and June 27th.
I will tell you that I don't look at these because I know some of them will surprise me and they'll be funny. So I'll stop looking at the random facts.
I'm here to tell you, man, there was a lot of them. There is a lot of them this time. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm just going to try to say this in one breath. June 21st is National Wagyu Day, National Smoothie Day, National Arizona Day, National Day of the Gong, National Take Your Dog to Work Day, National Selfie Day, National Peaches and Cream Day.
Man, I can get down with that last one, though.
So I'm trying to figure out the whole Day of the Gong, right?
Gong. Just all
like,
day.
I get the rest of these, right? Like Arizona Day is probably the day that Arizona became a state. That's typically how that works. And then the other ones that are usually about food is typically a way for those foods to get noticed and get some love economically. So that way, if you own a Wagyu steakhouse, then you can say, "Hey, y'all, today's Wagyu Day. Come on down. We have a thing going on." But Day of the Gong, what the hell does that mean?
Gong. Literally, you just sit there and do that all day.
I don't have a gong.
Well, we're gonna have to get one by the 21st, my dude.
So apparently, the National Day of the Gong honors the gong's unique history among instruments of sound, creativity, and healing. This is a real thing, you guys. June 21st, Day of the Gong. Well, all right then.
That sounds like some like movie or like video game. Day of the
So,
Gong.
June 22nd is my day of the week, first of all. This is the one that I am most excited about because there are 4 of them. Number 1, I'm going to get the food out of the way first, then we're going to get the fun out of the way. The food of the day is National Onion Rings Day and National Chocolate Eclair Day. I could get behind both of those.
On them chocolate eclairs, man.
So when I was a kid, I wouldn't eat an eclair because nobody could tell me what came out of the inside. I was like, is that chocolate? Is it vanilla? At first they were like, I don't know. And then they told me it was custard. And custard does not sound appetizing, does it?
I didn't know that's what it was. I just like it.
That's what it is, apparently. It is custard-filled pastry.
That makes me think of the Beatles.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yellow
like
melon custard.
So when I was that's a great song. Semolina Pilchard! Why is there no metal version of that song? I'm gonna look that up. There should be.
I'm on it.
Anyway, thank you. Going right along though, it's also National Kissing Day. If you're single, I'm sorry. But you can
go kiss somebody.
You can still celebrate. It doesn't say who or what you should kiss. So, like, if you get in trouble, you can just say, look, I'm just celebrating, okay? And stop kissing the trash receptacle. I'm just celebrating. So the last one is international, which means we do this all over the planet. It is International Being You Day.
I feel like we're good at that.
I am, yeah. I mean, there's no better me. There's no better person at being me than me. So weird. I mean, I've seen other people try to be me. It did not end well. I've seen other people try to be you as well, and that shit didn't end well.
See me trying to be me, and that shit didn't end well.
June 23rd. Oh my gosh. It is National Pink Day, and I don't mean the artist. Although she could probably get behind it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I know it's not the artist because there's no exclamation point.
Pink's okay.
You don't like pink? What do you mean it's okay?
It depends on what context and what kind of pink, but 85% positive I will not like it.
She's talking about the color. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, so it's also National Pecan Candies Day. So you're from Texas, Kadie Lynn. Is it pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
See? It's pecan.
Even my hick mother says pecan.
So it's pecan.
Ain't nobody say pecan.
It's pecan where I come from.
Oh.
Down here, a pecan is something you urinate into.
No, that's a piss can.
June 23rd is also National Detroit Style Pizza Day. And I have one in the freezer in the house just so I can celebrate that, by the way.
Well, never had one. So.
Well, you should. I'm going to take pictures of it when I make it and send it to you. It's also National Hydration Day on June 23rd, which is the one day of the year that you should not be dehydrated. Right.
Yep.
I think water should be free on that day.
I think water should be free, but okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. Why does the government charge us for water? Or it's not
necessity. If we don't drink water, we will our organs will shut down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what we'll do? Since we can't charge them for air, we'll get them for water. All right, June 25th is National Strawberry Parfait Day.
Yuck.
I'm not a big fan of, I love strawberries, but I don't like strawberry flavoring. Isn't that weird?
Okay, I'm okay with strawberry ice cream as long as it has strawberries in it.
It's
And
gonna
usually
have the
it
strawberry chunks, right? It's like a game that way, right?
It's like getting like, yeah, absolutely. It's like getting like a blizzard or something. You're there for the crunch factor too, dude. You're there
Yeah.
for the extras. You could
Look,
just get ice cream, but where's the fun in that?
I'm a 47-year-old kid. Okay. I had a lot of fun searching for shit in my ice cream. They used to have fudge swirl ice cream. It's really hard to find nowadays. But it was
I
essentially,
remember.
yeah, it's essentially vanilla ice cream with little fudge swirls in it. And boy, it was
Yes.
fun finding
And
the
they had the
fudge.
little ones.
Yep, yep.
Man,
Golly,
I
I
haven't
miss
thought
fudge
about
swirl
that in a
ice cream.
long
Can
time.
we get somebody to make? Why are we having a fudge swirl ice cream day? God dang it!
Yeah, because they don't
All
make
right.
it. They got canceled.
June 25th is also National Catfish Day.
Are we talking about like catfishing someone or like catfish?
I mean,
I feel
since
like
it's
people take it both ways.
since it is now an ambiguous word, we might as well go both ways, right?
Me next week when I get my new teeth.
Have you been catfished? Because I have been. Oh my gosh.
I have, absolutely.
Yeah.
Big time. It was nuts. Like, man.
It's not
That's another
fun.
story.
It's not fun. It's not fun. That's when you start learning about camera angles.
Yeah.
Start taking
Yeah.
pictures of yourself from the second story to make yourself look smaller. You know what I mean? It's also National Leon Day. Now, I've left this very, very, very no notes on this because I want to see if Kadie has any idea what this means.
Okay, I'm guessing we're not celebrating Joe Blow Leon down the road.
No,
I thought maybe it's a misspelling and was supposed to be lion.
nope,
I think like Kings of Leon.
nope.
That's
So
all I got.
National Leon Day means it is 6 months until Christmas, and Leon is Noel spelled backwards.
But okay. Okay. There's another useless American holiday.
Well, basically, what it is intended for is to remind people that you only have half a year now to get your Christmas gifts together. And if you're a crafter, you should start building your shit. Essentially. I'm telling you, this is what I read about National Leon Day.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but who the hell is making presents for other people? People that care, and who cares these days?
I mean, who's heard of National Leon Day? And like, oh my gosh, thank God you told me about this. I'm so not ready. Get the Christmas lights out.
My mom's gonna hear the podcast and be like, "Oh shit."
I mean, to be fair, I live in Wood County, so most people still have their Christmas lights up. Myself included, to be fair, but whatever. June 26th is National Barcode Day.
I man.
And from what I understand, the barcode is a little bit pissed off that the QR code has come into existence.
I don't blame him, man.
Yeah, he feels very replaced. This is the word I'm getting from the street.
I can get behind that, dude.
Yeah.
Let's boycott QR codes.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, we have to grow, Kadie Lynn.
Okay.
Forward progress.
Changes, okay, I guess.
I
sometimes.
think there's enough room in the world for both.
We'll see. I mean, we said that about like DVDs and like all that crap.
So, the next three on the list are what I call cause and effect. The cause being National Coconut Day and National Chocolate Pudding Day. The effect being you now need a beautician. So it is also National Beautician Day. I don't know.
No. I'm getting my hair cut next Friday and I didn't know what the date was. Oh, that's the 21st.
Yeah, that's the day this is coming out. So you actually have to wait until the 27th. That way you can celebrate your beautician.
Man, I already put it off one
I'll
week.
tell you what, if you can go to your beautician and eat a coconut and chocolate pudding while she's doing your hair and then post a video about it.
Man, I've never had an actual damn coconut.
Look, I just want to see you try to get into that sumbitch. June 27th is National Sunglasses Day. God damn it, I love this show, bro.
And I got the freaking pen
She's gonna stab her coconut with a freaking pen.
right in the hole.
I don't
Oh,
think that's how Tom Hanks done it, Kadie. Okay. June 27th. I'm sorry, I'll get serious. Hold up. All right. There's like 5 of them for this day. So I'm going to say them very quickly and then we'll just say whatever comes to mind.
okay.
It's National Sunglasses Day, National Onion Day, National Ice Cream Cake Day, National PTSD Awareness Day, and National Handshake Day. One of those is really important, I feel, and that's the PTSD awareness. There's still a lot of stigma over PTSD, I think, in society.
Absolutely.
Which is, by the way, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I understand.
dumb.
I know many different people with PTSD, and it's a real thing. So I'm glad there is an awareness day for it.
Yep, absolutely.
Personally speaking, I will be attempting to handshake an onion that day, though. True. I could get PTSD from that though, so I gotta be
I
careful.
could make sunglasses out of onion rings.
No, onion rings is June 22nd.
No, I'm saying like not fried, but like a ring.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Onion rings day is the 22nd. The whole onion gets its day on the 27th.
A whole onion. My mom would probably eat that thing like an apple.
Really?
Oh yeah.
My dad could do that, and he didn't have any
She'll
teeth.
just sit and eat onions. I don't know if she's eating it like an apple, but I've just seen her sit and eat onions.
Wow. I like an onion, like caramelized onions. Oh, yum.
Yeah. Or like even like on a sandwich or
Yep.
in something, but man, just munching on some onion.
Do you like onion pizza?
Just onions?
Well, I mean, just onions are in.
I've had like Supreme, like it doesn't bother me.
So my go-to pizza order is pepperoni, bell peppers, and onions.
See, and like I'm not like a fan of bell peppers, but like I can eat it and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
If it's like on something, I wouldn't just sit and eat it though.
Well, I know like people out there seem to be one of 2 ways on bell peppers. They either love them or despise them. There's not usually a middle ground on that.
I'm no man. I can eat them and stuff. I just don't want to eat one by itself.
Yeah.
I have a friend that she ate that we worked together for a while, and it was like 8 a.m. and she was eating like the little bitty bell peppers for breakfast. Just
Oh, they're probably really good for weight loss, to be fair. This is why I look like this, by the way. So that's what we're celebrating for the next week here in the United States. And we had one international day. Kadie, do you remember what the international day was? Well, she's going to look and cheat.
Of course I am. Being you day, dude.
Right.
That was a lot. We just went over 29 days. You think I'm gonna remember
29 different things we are celebrating this week, y'all. Absolutely not so. And I'm going to tell you, like, only one of these is, like, a serious thing, I feel, and that's the PTSD awareness. But again, it is still Pride Month, so let's go. It's also Black Music Awareness Month, by the way, if you didn't know that. It's also Indigenous Peoples Month. June. Yeah. Anyway, on to our topics for this week. The first one should be some fun because I have personally interviewed Kadie Lynn, I think 3 times, and we've never been able to talk freely about America's Got Talent. And tonight we are talking freely for the first time ever. I'm hoping to get some information from Kadie that she has never been able to express tonight. So I guess the first question I have for you about America's Got Talent is, how did it happen? Like, how were you discovered for the show?
So I was on in 2016, but the previous year, 2015, I told my mom like, "Hey, I want to go audition." And we went to San Antonio. We made a whole trip of it. I was born in San Antonio, so like they took me to the hospital I was born in and stuff like that, all kinds of stuff. So we made like a whole trip of it, but we went to San Antonio, did like a regular audition, stood in line for 9 hours just to sing like half a song and leave. Um, Never heard anything. And then I believe it was the beginning of the year, like January 2016. It could have been like maybe December, but regardless, almost a whole year later, I my mom gets like a call and it's saying like, "Hey, we marked her down like we're kind of like to check back in kind of thing." So they wanted me to come do an audition. Another one, and this time they were doing one in Dallas, so that was dope. Um, and they gave me, I think it's called like a C ticket, but basically it means like you can bypass all the lines, which is so great, so great. After the previous year of literally standing in a line for 9 hours, awful. I mean, you see like on the show and stuff, like it's real. That's actually real. But anyway, so I got that pass. They took me. I waited for probably an hour, but I went in a room by myself. Before the previous year, there was like four other people in there, with their talents, and like they all auditioned for the same person, and it was just one person. But this one that I did, I was by myself, and there's three people, and then they're like, okay, I sang my song. They sent me to another person. I think it was like another two, three people. And I sang my song. They're like, okay. And then they sent me some more people. And then I finally ended up at this chick's desk. She was so sweet. But everyone thinks about this when I mean, it's reality TV. She sits down and we talk for like 3 hours about my entire life story for the show. The whole, I'm adopted, all that kind of crap, the story, the reason you're so special. Sorry, but I mean, real.
How much do
There's
you think the story helped you get onto the show? Like how in your mind, how much of it was talent, which is what the show is supposed to be about, and how much of it was backstory that got you through the door ultimately? Do you think?
I don't necessarily take out the backstory. I don't necessarily think it was the talent, but I'm a little country girl from East Texas and my little boo-foo hair, my little boo-foo dress, singing Merle Haggard. That that's an image, that's
Mhm.
something you could sell. So there's that. I don't I look back on that and I wince. I'm like, listening to myself. Granted, I was 12, so I got to give myself some slack. But um, I definitely the story though. Like, there's people like you. Anyone that watches those shows, like they'll be like, this person is only on here for the story.
Mhm.
Period. And you can so tell usually.
Yeah.
But
So in other
but yeah.
words, if you're not interesting and you have talent, you have no chance.
Oh yeah.
You know. So
Agreed.
how
Absolutely agreed.
much control did you have at this stage of the process? Now this is before you're in. How much control did you have over your presentation, including song choice at this stage?
100.
Okay.
I got to pick my first. Like when you walk in there, like I have my song. It was my song. Now I don't remember if it was the first. So I got to choose for completely. I mean, outfit, hair, shoes, makeup, song, all the above for the first and second round. So when I did Twinkle Twinkle and then when I did Mama's Broken Heart, that was all my choice. Me and my mom kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, but I do remember. I don't remember if it was for the first and second, but I know for the
Well, let's
second.
hold off on that. I want to stay right here at the beginning,
Okay.
pre chosen. So I know that from personal experience, I know how much of a process it is just getting into the door. And you talked about waiting in line for 9 hours and then seeing multiple people. The way it's presented to the public is that Kadie Lynn just shows up at what wherever the venue is and walks out on stage, and there's the judges, including Simon and Howie and the other two as well. The way it's presented to the public, this is the first time you're being seen by anybody on the show, and then you are chosen by the celebrity judges. But that's not
And
true at all, is it?
no, and here's what people don't think about. That shit don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in Hollywood. You think all these people from around the world are flying out to Hollywood for just a slim chance out of like thousands and thousands of people?
Right.
No. Like even like on American Idol and stuff back in the day, they would go city to city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and like it would be the actual judges and you could tell like they were in that city. They don't do that with America's Got Talent. Like you should know
Well,
something happened before
to be
now.
fair, they weren't doing it with American Idol either. That was all smoke and mirrors, by the way.
Was it?
Absolutely. It's all BS.
Well, at least they
I'm here to
tried.
tell you. So what they do is they make it look like those judges are in that city, and they're not. Absolutely not. And if they are, if they happen to be in the city, and I'm talking like Simon, Paula, Randy days, if they happen to be traveling from city to city, they might be sitting there for 2 hours. So they might see maybe 15 people, if that's even the case. And the way it's presented to the public is like there's just dozens and dozens and hundreds of people just waiting in line, and the judges are there for 16 hours, and they're just filtering through the shaft to get to the wheat, and it's all BS. It's all done
And
prior to that level, right?
And I said I auditioned in 2015 and then they kind of like marked me down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also wonder like how that, if that's like, oh, maybe we don't think she's going to fit into this season because they choose the people,
Mm-hmm.
period. End of story. They do. So I don't know if it was like, oh, she doesn't fit in this year. Let's check in next year kind of thing.
Yep.
So like, I wonder how many people it's like that for.
Right.
So like, maybe like 1 year you don't even have a chance at all.
Yeah, because they're looking for several different things, especially on a talent show where it's not necessarily a singing show. They have to look for diversity. They have to look at geographically. They have to look at what you're doing, what your talent is. It can't all be singers. It can't all be bands. They have to have a decent array of different kinds of talented people. It can't be all white people. It can't be all African American people. It has to be a mix. And so it's not necessarily the most talented person that comes in. Plus, as we've already intimated, it's all about story as well. So if you don't have
it's
that,
reality TV.
right? So you have to be interesting to the public, or they're not going to get behind you. And if the show's producers doesn't think that the public's going to get behind you, then you're not going to generate interest in the show.
No, absolutely. I was saying it. We're kind of getting closer to the second round, but I don't remember if it was the second round or the first. But regardless, you asked if I like had a choice on what I wear. I believe it was for the first one too. They were like, oh well, maybe you should have her wear like boots and like a like, oh, maybe sing this kind of song. It was still kind of a coached thing, but it wasn't like, you're doing this.
Well, there was a couple of things as a person that knew you and as a fan of yours at the time that really kind of triggered me a little bit.
Oh, wait, small fun fact. In 2015, I auditioned with Simple Man by Leonard Skinner, not
Nice. Nice.
Anyway, go ahead.
But one thing that kind of triggered me a little bit is them trying to portray you as somebody who's never done anything musically. You weren't, you weren't doing the Opries. You weren't, and the thing that got me is we in Texas had already discovered Kadie Lynn. We knew who you were. You were playing the Opries. You were writing songs. You were making videos. You were winning awards. All of those things were happening already. And then you went on America's Got Talent, and they just wiped all of that clear. They didn't want anybody to know that about you. And that pissed me off. Like, that really pissed me off.
It was we'll get to it in a second, but it was like the little girl from BFE out in the country with her little songs.
Mm-hmm. And then add on top of it, you're adopted and, by older people. And it was just an amazing story.
And my mom cries on the spot.
Oh, she was perfect for what they wanted. She was perfect. And
well, and she's just very emotional. She wears her heart on her sleeve.
She's amazing. Like and she loves you, and that's just the way it is. She is your biggest supporter. Absolutely. Perfect. And your dad was perfect too. To be fair, I mean, the perfect parents for what they're trying to show out there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that kind of pissed me off a little bit, and then like to hear some of the things privately from you and your mom about you really wanting to showcase your original music. What was
That's
their what was their rules for original music on the show at the time?
so they didn't want, okay, for the first and second round where people got to pick their stuff. I didn't I don't know what happened with the other contestants. I don't remember exactly, but um I was just like, the first one I chose, right? And then the second one, like we sent like a few songs. I practiced on like probably like 20 different songs. Videoed them, sent them over to the producer and all that kind of stuff, and they picked kinda. Or like they said this one's better. So it was still like a coach thing, but I still got to like, you know, choose my song. But um obviously my year was like the year of all the singers, right? That was when Simon
Right, but I'm
Cowell,
talking about your original music now. Like,
yeah,
if you wanted
so
to play an original song, what were they gonna
mhm,
do?
they were just like, no, just no. Like, it was the year of singers. Almost every single one of those singers had their own songs that they wanted to sing, and no one was allowed to.
So I was told, I'm not going to say who told me this, but I was told that if you did an original song live on their show, that they would take control of that song.
Oh,
That
I'm sure that's
you
true
had to
too.
sign your rights of that song over to them in order for you to perform it.
I okay, very plausible. The only reason I say I don't know is because of the winner of that season, how much money she has made off of those performances and those songs. Um, but also, who knows? But I know there were very serious contracts. Like my mom
Mm.
had a lawyer review everything, and like people just signed this crap.
Right.
My
Yep.
mom went through like everything, had like people, like we were getting stuff changed. My mom was like, "We're not signing this, and she won't go on stage tonight unless y'all fix this." Because I mean, there is a lot of crazy stuff in there. A
Yeah.
lot of crazy stuff.
Mm.
Um. So where did I leave off? Oh, so basically that year, um, so the winner, Grace Vanderwall, everybody, she auditioned with her original song, right? And she did original songs the whole way through the season. No one was like, okay, by the time we got to the third episode, right, to the quarterfinals, um, they were picking the songs. So my church, I Hope You Dance, both of those were picked for me. My church, I was like,
Hmm.
huh?
Yeah.
Like what?
And we talked a little bit
Anyway,
on a prior episode about not necessarily the song choice of "I Hope You Dance," which I think Katie and I would both agree is a great song. But the arrangement that they made into that song or made of that song just did not fit you in any way, shape, or form. Just an
I will say
abject.
I love the dress though.
Oh, you were gorgeous throughout. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you looked great. You did. But I mean, you could tell as a listener when your control ceased
Yeah,
over your choices. And it was
absolutely.
unfortunate because I was like, no, like Katie's not going to pick I Hope You Dance. And I know your mom wouldn't have picked that arrangement. Like, I know. Like, I'm like, okay, I've heard her sing, like, Simple Man. If you had come out there with Simple Man, oh my God, bro. Like, what? They would have,
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even
yeah,
audition country to begin with.
yeah. Like,
I
I felt
almost
like if you would have gone to rock, you could have showcased a different side of who you were, and that would have brought a whole new clientele of fans into your phone number, so
that
to
would have
speak.
had a completely different outcome than what happened. Like completely different.
Right.
Completely different.
And I mean,
That
as an artist and a performer, you have to believe in the song.
now
I
that
don't
we're
care how
talking
old
about,
you are. If you don't believe in the song, you're not going to be able to deliver it.
so I do believe at the get go, my mom will see this and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm. This was 8 years ago, guys. So I was 12, very young.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to remember piece by piece, but I do think I remember like one of the producers being like, "Does she know any country?" You know, kind of thing. Because I mean, and all I did was country. But I back then
That
I
fit the
mostly sang
story
like
better, right? It just fit the story better.
back then I mostly did like classic rock songs.
Mhm. Yep.
And what was I gonna say? Jackson just texted. He said you auditioned and they didn't want you because you weren't country. Probably.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, Jackson, that's not the same thing. He said in 2020. That's a different show. Um. Anyway, so that's actually valid. I forgot about that. Anyway, so dang, Jackson, quit listening. Now he got me thrown off. What was I saying?
Well, let me ask you a question. Just rewind back to the big audition that everybody saw with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Um, Showcased your
Y'all.
voice, amazing. And
Mhm.
when you come to that big note, you know in your heart what's fixing to come, and you looked so nervous. I felt for you.
Okay, so they effed me up on that crap. They made me do it twice.
Okay. So I know that when you hit the note and the place went ballistic, what was that like for you? 12 years old. Try to describe that, please.
So, okay, I said I had to do it twice. I don't I don't know what's what on that. And they were mashed together pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know if like some clips were like the actual audience. I mean like the noise and stuff in the background, but like
Mm,
I mean it was awesome. It really was. The first take and then everyone walked out, did a break, like all the audience and everyone left, and then they had me do it again. I'm like, I'm more nervous now.
right.
Like, what did I do wrong the first time? And I know for the big note, that one was the second one
Okay.
because I wish I did it, but it's like they're having me
Well,
redo it and they're gonna use this and it sucks.
um, I know. I think we talked about this in the past, but like you had so much celebrity notice from Reba to Kenny Rogers to so many other people. What was that like as a 12-year-old? And you know, you've already self-admitted not the biggest country music fan.
Yeah,
So, what was that like to get so much notice from legends like that in a genre that you're not even hip to?
it was very weird and like not that I didn't think anything of it, but I mean you can ask I mean, my parents really, because they were they were there the whole time. But like, I'm not like, oh my god, you're a celebrity. Oh my god, like I'm just like, I mean,
Mhm.
you and me are normal people. You're just really successful, you know.
Right. Yep.
So I've always been pretty chill. It would Reba. I mean, that's like, I mean, that's effing Reba, dude. How do
Mhm.
you not? How do
Right.
you not? Um, and like Simon Cowell, same thing. I mean, I thought that was really cool. You know, like top tier, but like they're just people, and especially like seeing them on face value, it's like, yeah, you're just normal. You're like, Reba's tiny, tiny. So is
So,
Simon Cowell.
so I got a couple more just to try to wrap this up a little bit, but I want 8 years of perspective now. You're 12 at the time. You're dealing with all of this craziness. It's chaotic. Everybody's in your face. And now you've had 8 years to look back at it. So, not necessarily, I'm not asking you about regrets or anything like that, but how
Just
would you
overall
how would
thoughts.
you process it better if you could go back and do it again?
Well, I will say that they did really good in making it fun because there was a lot of kids on there and everything. Everything was so fun. They made sure we all had a blast, all that kind of stuff. Even though they were making us look however we want or however they wanted, they still made it really awesome. I really wish I it was a very weird thing being like this East Texas thing, right? And now I'm like a Hollywood thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I'm sent back home to East Texas and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That was not That's not good for. I just turned 13. That's not good
Multiple
for.
culture shocks, one after another.
Yeah, like that was insane, insane, insane. I am so glad I did it. I do wish that I wouldn't have done country, honestly, but I also know I probably wouldn't have been on the show if I didn't do country. I do. I don't have regrets, but I do think that it has kind of hindered my growth as an artist these days, getting away from country and all that. Um, but I do feel like I'm making really good strides. But that's kind of like overall thought,
So
I
one thing
guess.
I've always really been impressed about you, as somebody who loves you, um, is whenever you introduce yourself, it's never "Hi, I'm Kadie Lynn." It's always a "Hi, I'm Kadie." You
Hmm.
never talk to people. You never let them know that, hey, I'm that person.
Yeah.
And that has always really impressed me about you. Because if I'm 12 years old and I'm on national television and I have all these celebrities um, just talking me up, I'm going to try to let every on the planet know what is and what isn't. Excuse my language. I'll bleep that out. Whatever. My point is you've never been that person. And I mean, from the time you were 12 until right this moment, you've never been that person. And that is super impressive to me, honestly.
I really, I find it weird to even like talk about good things about like brag on myself at all. I just find it really weird. So I this sounds bad, but like I could never.
Right.
Like I don't even like complimenting myself.
And I mean, sometimes you just have to be okay with other people doing that for you,
Yeah,
you know? And
absolutely.
that's something you've learned already. You're not even 21 yet, and that's really really very dignified, and you should be proud of yourself for that. But anyway, we'll move on. Um, I love the fact that you don't regret doing it. There are things you wish you could have done differently if you were allowed to do those things differently. And I believe, as a fan, that if you were allowed to steer your own vessel through that situation, you would have had more success than
I did.
they wanted you to have. Maybe that's not the right terminology, but it's what I have. So there you go. So we
I agree.
have a recommended topic this week from my friend Kumi, who wants us to talk about favorite horror movies. And I added TV shows because I know shit all about horror movies. I am a pansy.
No,
Yeah.
dude, what?
So I don't have a favorite horror movie. I'll keep it real. I just don't.
So okay, let me just bust on out with it then. Um, Big, The Shining gal, big, right? Have you not?
I've read all of those books.
Okay, well that's something. Okay, The Shining, love Silence of the Lambs. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't really necessarily know if you would call that horror. I mean, I guess so because it is kind of gory in some spots.
Absolutely. That's a
Um,
horror movie. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I guess when I think of horror, I think like jump scares and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway,
like
um,
Saw and Texas Chainsaw
I
Massacre.
I don't do those. I don't like gore. I don't. I
See,
will
my
say that.
problem is anytime I would watch a horror movie, I would be laughing more than being scared. Now, I mean, when I was a kid, I was this guy as well. You know, like looking through your fingers.
I still do that. I'm like this, but I'm still looking.
But I've never been much for jump scares either, and I have them built into my live stream, which is interesting, by the way.
Jackson can't stand it.
Yeah,
But I also love all the Conjuring and the Insidious movies. I believe I could be wrong that they're made by the same director.
maybe. I think
Me-
the reason why I've never been into horror movies is because my aunt took me to see Cujo um, at the theaters when I was real little. I was probably like 8 or 9 at the time, and Cujo scared the shit out of me. And then I watched the movie again as an adult when all the like the effects and shit like were all outdated and stuff, and I was like, how was I afraid of this? But then Children of the Corn scared the shit out of me as a kid too.
I have not seen Children of the Corn. I remember my mom told me that in Pet Cemetery. I don't when he I don't remember what jumps on top of the boulder. It's been a long time. But something hops up on this big boulder and she said the boulder moves. And it's like this huge boulder. But I mean, that's old school horror for you. But I love me and my mom a couple weeks ago we watched Insidious the Red Door.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend. I love what horror movies get a bad rap for is when they're just jump scares, they don't have a good story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
But
feel you.
I mean,
so TV shows for me, like I've the older I get, the harder it is for me to hold attention on anything. It's so weird. So like TV shows and movies, especially TV shows, they end up being just background noise for me. A lot of times I tend to just go with like reality TV or like true crime. It's because I'm working and I'm not really paying attention to it. But like some of my favorite shows, I love political dramas like West Wing and Scandal and Designated Survivor, Madam Secretary, like shows like that. House of Cards is one of my favorite shows. I love that
I
show.
have not seen any of them. I know about all the shows, but I have not seen any of them.
I mean, I'm just mad at Kevin Spacey for up House of Cards, man. Why did he have to be? I mean, I guess they found him innocent. I don't know what all of that's about. All I know is they fired him from my favorite show, and I feel like they changed the end of it. And I'm sad because the end sucked.
So when you put TV shows on here, I thought you meant horror TV shows, but since you don't like horror, then my answers are changing a little
I
bit.
was just wanting something to talk about during this topic. That's all. I forgot about my experiences with Cujo and Children of the Corn when I was a kid. Golly. All right, we'll skip TV shows for a later one. All right, let's move on to our third topic. We're kind of behind a little bit. This is Katie's lead, this one. Tell us about Dolly Parton and what's going on.
Okay, I am so freaking excited about this. She is coming out with a Broadway musical about her life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit from the article before I start, babbling about what I like about it. Okay, let me see. So she is also opening up a hotel in Nashville that I read in this article. That's really freaking cool. Anyway, she let me see. So she is doing a new musical. It's going to be called Hello, I'm Dolly. I am so excited about that. It gives it's Brittany B vibes, but it's Dolly. It's coming out in 2026. It says that they're going to be there's a whole bunch of new songs that she's wrote just for the musical, as well as all the classics and all that good stuff. And I think that's so cool, so cool. And she said, I've lived my whole life to see this show on stage. That is so cool. I love Dolly, and I hope she is around for a lot longer. But I mean, imagine seeing your whole life unfold in front of your eyes. You know what I mean? That's something really cool. It says you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll clap, you'll stomp. It's truly a grand old opera, pun and fun intended. Don't miss it. Dolly's words. So I'm really freaking excited about
I
that.
absolutely love Dolly Parton, and if anybody
I do too.
deserves a freaking Broadway musical about their life, it's this woman. One of the penultimate songwriters of any generation. This woman has made more freaking art that people have consumed than many others.
Yeah.
Has just a incomparable image, an incomparable kind heart. There's just so much to like about Dolly Parton. Gosh, I wish I could vote for her. You know what I mean?
Man, she'd do great. She'd make America.
She ain't that dumb though, right? She's not that dumb. She's not gonna do no. Like, who was it that used to say, I would never join a club that would have me as a member? I forget who said that, but maybe it was Groucho Marx. Maybe somebody can look that up out there and fact check me. But yeah, this topic was last minute, as Kadie knows. I inserted this I think Friday
And
or
then he's like, "Here, you
Saturday.
take it."
And I was like, yeah, this is perfect for Kadie to talk about. It really, truly
I
is.
also I made a note. I do love to see like musical artists or an artist of any kind branch into like another form of creativity, like making a musical or something like that. I think that's really
Is
really
there
cool.
anybody better at that than Dolly
No.
Parton? Like,
No.
she got so much flack for simply being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And
Mhm.
so what does she do? She puts out a rock and roll record. Like, well, if you're gonna put me in your Hall of Fame, I might as well make a rock album. Golly, I mean,
I
it's
love
just
it.
it's so amazing, man.
I love
And
her so much.
I mean, and if you don't like Dolly Parton, you're in luck. Because if you don't like Dolly Parton, very soon there could be space elevators to get you out of the planet.
Man.
This is a true story from AOL.com. Yes, guys, that still exists. And imagine a long tether linking Earth to space that could launch us into orbit at a fraction of the cost and slingshot us to other worlds at record speed. This might sound like fiction, but I assure you it is not. What I have just mentioned is the basic idea behind a space elevator. And then instead of taking 6 to 8 months to reach Mars, which by God is way too long if you ask me, scientists have estimated that with the implementation of a space elevator, we could get there in as soon as 3 or 4 months, or even as quickly as 40 days.
That okay. That's nightmare fuel. I'm sorry. I love space. I when I was a kid, I had this book and it was about all the planets in the solar system when I was like 5 or 6, and I looked at that like
Mhm.
24/7. I was always obsessed with space and the ocean. Still am. Um,
And we'll get into the
but
ocean soon, figuratively, soon, in a future episode.
deal. But that is literally nightmare fuel.
Yeah,
Imagine.
yeah.
You know what I think of?
This.
That movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock. That's what I
Mhm.
think of.
I literally had to do so much reading on this because I thought it was satire. But I assure you, this is actually not satire. There is a Japanese based company called Obayashi Corp, and they think they have the expertise to make this a reality. They are actually known for constructing the world's tallest tower, which is the Tokyo Skytree. They announced in 2012 that it would reach even loftier heights with its own space elevator. So not only is this not satire, but this has been in the works for almost 13 years.
That's terrifying. I'm sorry. We're little measly humans, okay? I love
Mm-hmm.
exploration. I think it's amazing. Like I said, I'm obsessed with space, but we're just trying to kill ourselves at this freaking point. I swear to
Absolutely.
God.
So, in a report in 2012, the company said it would begin construction on a $100 billion project by 2025, and that they could start operations with the space elevator as soon as 2050. And I'm hoping by then we will have better political choices in this country.
You know what I think? You know what I immediately thought of was
What?
like Futurama.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just literally like people going up an elevator, just going to hang out on Mars,
Okay,
the
so
Martians.
here's an update on all of this. They checked AOL checked in with Yoji Ishikawa, who wrote the original report and is part of the company's future technology creation department, to see how the project is progressing ahead of the 2025 supposed beginning of the project. While
Mhm.
Ishikawa said the company likely won't start construction next year, it is currently, quote, engaged in serious research and development, rough design, partnership building, and promotion, unquote. Now, some have doubted that such a structure is even possible. Um, a person named Christian Johnson, who peer reviewed the space elevator idea, calls it a kooky idea in the Journal of Science Policy and Governance. He also said, that said, there are some people who are real scientists who are really on board with this and really want to make it happen.
I mean, out of the people that really want to explore space, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, imagine how going that fast to Mars.
I'm just trying to
You know what I
figure
mean?
out why this is more important than feeding the world. Just saying.
I agree.
But anyway, I want to bring relevant and obscure facts to our listeners. I saw space elevators and I was like, yo, we could probably get some gummy sponsorship from this, perhaps. So if you are a gummy company, this is the perfect episode for you. Just because, again, I put the Dolly Parton and space elevators next to each other simply for the amazing segue that we pulled through earlier in the show. If you don't like Dolly Parton, get on the space elevator. You're good to go. Are you ready to play a game, Kadie Lynn?
I'm ready.
All
Sorry.
right, so we're going to play a game again this week. We've been very fortunate where Kadie started us off in week 1, and I got last week. So we're going to find out who has to play this week. And the way this works, if you are just joining us, is we have 3 wheels, which I am going to go ahead and try to get to.
That Kadie doesn't get to see.
That's right. Kadie does not get to see our wheels. Let me see if I can find the wheel, because I am thoroughly unprepared. Here we go. Okay, so that's not the right place. Hold on, guys. Move this over here. This here, and then we'll... This. Thoroughly unprepared, y'all.
Oh.
So the first thing we are going to do is make this a little bit smaller, so you guys. That way, you guys can hold me honest and know that I'm not cheating. Here we go. There is our wheel.
Because I would know.
So the first wheel is going to decide which one of the hosts is going to be playing the game, Kadie or Boston. Here's the spin. Come on, Kadie.
Okay.
All right. God dang it, it picked me again. All right, so I am the unfortunate soul this week. The next time we spin the wheel is going to be the game that we have to play. So here we go with that. And then I will describe the game that we have to play. All right, so the game we are playing this week for the first time is Think About It.
Yeah, I like it.
Now we're going to choose the topic for this week. And the topic is... God dang it. Sailboats.
Okay.
So here's how it works.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
I'm gonna describe. So think about it as a topic. The topic is given, and then the person playing the game must turn that subject into a conspiracy theory. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Okay, so think about it. If Gilligan, listen, if they were smart enough to simply have a sailboat instead of a motored powered vessel, then some would say that they may not have had a 3-hour tour. Because, honestly, if it was a sailboat, it'd probably be more like a 14-hour tour. And 2 things. Number 1, if they had a sailboat, and I don't know who decided to make it so that they had a motor instead of sails, because everybody knows that wind power is way better than motorized power.
Yeah. It's natural.
That's right. If they had wind power, they would not have been stranded with coconut radios.
You're right.
And you think about all the radiation that those radios gave off. I mean, I know for a fact that 4 of the people that were stranded on that island actually died from cancer. The government doesn't want you to know this.
Man.
And it's all because they were on a motorized boat instead of a sailboat.
A sailboat.
Right.
Somebody put them in that, man.
Now, the crazy thing is the captain originally was a sailboat captain.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, and the makers of the show, much like the show you were on, decided for him what he was going to do instead of just letting him decide. I know. Think about how all of this could have changed. They could have won Emmys. They could have gotten off the island. The show could have been literally 2 episodes instead of years and years and years of torture. If they would have just taken the natural way out. Why are you laughing?
I love it.
Can't believe she's
I like
laughing.
it, Picasso.
This is obvious. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the history of our show, we are on episode 7. Kadie Lynn is going to present our main event topic for the week. Here she is.
So, we were talking. We've been doing a lot of music, right? And we've been doing like a lot of Texas music. We did like Taylor Swift. We've been doing like a lot of singer-songwriter kind of thing, which obviously me and Chris over here super about it. But little Miss Gal over here, huge metalhead. Go figure. So this band was my first favorite metal band. The first heavy band I ever came across. So that was, I can't remember if that was, I think it was right after AGT. I think it was like a few months. But like I'd already been like dabbling in like harder rock and like some screaming, but this is like death metal, guys. Like heavy, like heavy as he gets. Okay. They were my first favorite metal band, and this has been devastating to me. So I'm talking about Thy Art is Murder.
I can't wait to hear the navigation of this. This is going to be great. Speaking of sailboats.
Yeah, it's going to be all natural. Anyway. So the band is Thy Art is Murder. The topic, everything that's going on with this, their lead singer has been fired due to a lot of controversy. And let me fact check myself. I believe that he is the original singer.
While you're fact checking that, I just want to let folks know this is not new. This happened in September. But since the podcast is new, this is definitely something that is a topic that is something we wanted to discuss because it has multiple avenues of relevancy, not only to us as hosts, but also to our audience.
There's a lot of messed up stuff with this. Hold on. Okay, so he's the original vocalist. They did have another vocalist, but he has been around since the band has been around since 2006. He was fired due to let me see. He went live, right?
He was not the original vocalist. The original vocalist was Brendan Van Ryn or Ryn.
Okay.
2006 to 2008. The man we're talking about was the vocalist from 09 to 15 and then 17 to 23.
Gotcha.
So by far their longest tenured vocalist.
Yeah.
But
he was my vocalist, man. I cannot tell you like how much I like love this man or love this man. Like, especially in this band. Like, this band was my introduction to literally my favorite genre ever now. Death metal. Like this is like, I mean, like, think about the band that you listen to growing up. That's like your all-time favorite. This is who this is for me.
Okay.
So he got kicked out. And they just got done with, well, was it halfway done?
No, they were done. It was done. The record was finished. They were going to announce the next day. It was going to be released the next day.
And what's funny is they released a couple singles as well that are on that album, I believe. It was right before they released the album. It was 2 singles. One was Blood Throne and the other was Karis. Love them so much. And then about a week later, I believe this happened. And then they had this whole album done. It obviously was in the works because they released the singles and all that kind of stuff like that. And then they fired him and re-recorded all the vocals with their new guy and released it with all. I'm going to talk about the messed up stuff first, and then I'm going to tell you.
That
So
I have a lot to say too, but you're
basically,
more versed on this, so my stuff will come as we talk about the fallout of this. If you don't mind.
yeah, no, for sure. This is
Okay.
definitely my territory.
Okay.
So, I mean, imagine it's obviously different, like you're not writing melodies, but it's a rhythm vocal thing, right? Imagine writing a whole album and then being like, no, F you, you're out of here. Somebody else is going to do it. And then releases it. And like, you have no tie to it. And what's even worse is like, he was on these past two singles, and those singles are bomb, bomb. But regardless of all that, I did not know the extent of it until before I brought it up to you. I was kind of, because to be honest, at the beginning, I was pissed off. Because I mean, this is my dude. Like I said, I listened to them forever, and there was a lot of my other favorite bands like backing him on it and kind of boycotting the band, all kinds of stuff. Like people making posts, like big bands. I believe one of them was Ronnie Radkick. What is he? Anyway, metal band. Um, um, so I'm gonna quote the article for this.
Are you getting
Also,
any coconut on your iPad there from the leftover on that pen? I'm just curious. Is there any coconut smear? I'm worried about your
not
iPad.
yet.
Okay.
No, I wiped it off first.
Okay, good.
um, so also, I another note before I say what happened. He figured out that he was fired via social media. Um,
Through a comment, not a post, but a comment.
yep, yep. And then he was immediately replaced, and then all of his music, like all of his creation, was taken. Um, that's just about what I knew. I did not look. I knew what had happened and what the controversy was, but I didn't delve too deep into it until before we kind of started. Like when it happened, I I don't know. I was doing some stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I knew it happened, and I was pissed off. I was like, I'm boycotting the band, right? Well, um, so there is someone posted a video, right? It's a woman telling her kid, um, saying like you can be both when the child asks if when they said that they're both a boy and a girl. And she was like, you could be both, right? Well, the vocalist went
Are we going to name
went
the
way
vocalist?
CJ McMahon.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I'm not used to people
You're good.
talking about anyway. So he he literally said that the woman in the video should be burned to death. Now, here's what I will say. I didn't know about that. I did not know about that. But I will say go look at their lyrics. Go look at their everything. It's death metal. Okay. People are very harsh in death metal. People say a lot of shit they don't mean just for the image, for the shock factor, all this kind of stuff. You can go look at their music. They are they are not satanic, but they are anti-religion. And there's a lot of stuff in their vocals. Like they in one of their songs, it literally says, "Blind disciples, burn your Bibles." So like when you hear someone like that saying like burn to death, like I wish you like we're burned to death. It's a lot. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm like, I don't know. I had mixed feelings on that because that is much. And that's totally not right.
No.
Totally not right. But that was the initial thing I thought of because like metalheads and like metal vocalists, I mean, it's all to the extreme. It just is. So then Then he went on to post it's a selfie like in bed or some shit. You can barely see him, and it says, "I just woke up and saw the news. Yes, this is how I found out, and yes, it's not the whole story. I'll be going live tomorrow at 5 p.m. Sydney, Australia time." And then it says, "Burn everyone to death." Winky face.
Mhm.
Now I saw this. I didn't know, like, I knew what had happened, but I didn't know necessarily context, like what exactly, like what he said, what had happened. Um, And I will say I saw the apology and then I was like, okay, whatever. It's fine, right? Which, because I didn't know initially what was said, like what he originally did. I just saw this post and then
Well,
heard what he said and, kind of put two and two together, but did
from what
not
I've
really.
read, there has not been to this day, almost 9 months later, there has not been an apology.
It was, okay, it wasn't an apology, but it was, mm, when he went live, he backtracked a lot, I will say. And he said stuff that was very contradicting to the I watched the whole video. He said stuff like, you should be able, basically completely contradicting himself. And then he went on the whole like, and now we can disagree, agree to disagree, whatever, with this topic. It's a very controversial topic when it comes to gender and children. Um, but he did backtrack a lot and say, like, the kids should be aware and, like, educated, all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. But he did still kind of circle back to being like, but at the same time, everyone has their own thought on this, but he spun it around to look like he doesn't think underage children should be exposed, which a lot of these people have this idea and agree to disagree,
Yep.
whatever. um and there's a lot of people coming out and saying that, and they're not getting canceled, right? So when he's saying all of this, I saw this video and I saw that post. And when it said "burn everyone to death," I mean, like I said, that's just their lyrics. You know what I mean? I just thought, I didn't think anything of that. And then I saw the video, and I heard that and I was like, okay, I can understand why you say that or whatever. I can understand your opinion, your thought process, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, everything's fine. Never gonna listen to the band again. F them, pretty effed up. Then I went back and figured that out.
So you
But
saw the video, you heard the apology, quote unquote, all of that without knowing what he was apologizing for. You had
yep,
not seen the original.
nope,
Okay.
I did
All right.
not. I stay out of touch a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And I don't remember how I found out. I think I was listening to like the new album and I was like, that don't sound right. And then I went and looked. I don't think like I saw it on social media, and I just found what was popping up. You know what I mean? I didn't really dig too far deep in it because I saw the apology and I was like, okay, see, everything seems fine. Like, that's his opinion and whatever, and screw the band. That was just the end of it. I barely looked into it. I saw it. I was like, okay, but it it's pretty fed up. Bleep me. Sorry. It's pretty effed up. Like, I this okay. We talked about this with the God no, Tennessee Adult Entertainment Act, right? Like, and also like, when you start putting, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. It's freedom of speech.
Mhm.
It's freedom of speech. I'm sorry. And when you're literally saying blind disciples burn your Bibles, like, this doesn't seem that out of character. Like, and I mean, you're gonna like, and there's some controversial too. Like, you go look at any other lyrics, I can pull some up. Like, that alone, what I just said, people are like, holy crap, get that away from me.
Hmm.
It's
I
just
have
what it is.
I have a couple of questions. First one,
Yes.
you say it's effed up. Are you talking about the fact that he said what he said is effed up, or the fact that the band fired him for what he said is effed up?
I initially thought what the band. I still think the way the band handled it was awful.
I agree.
I think all
I agree.
I agree all of that was effed up. I
Mhm.
mean, imagine, and for that long, like that's your family. I'm sorry. Your band is your family. That's just what happens when you spend this much time together and you make so much music and you're so creative with each other. Like you're a family.
Which
And
leads me to believe, and I'm sure you might be here too, it leads me to believe there was more here under the
yes,
surface than
yes.
just this. Now, I don't want to diminish what was said by this human being at all, but I
Mm-mm.
agree with you that the way this was done was absolutely unprofessional, especially with a huge release coming up. And we'll get into that in a minute. But
Mhm.
we talk about freedom of speech. Um, I don't believe anybody has the right to tell another human being how to raise their children.
I do agree on that. I do
So,
absolutely.
regardless of the trans tones in this topic, the fact that he's telling another human being that he hopes they burn to death, somebody he's never met, he's judging them, whatever, that is also effed up as well.
No, that and
Um,
that's what I meant towards the second half. Like what he did, that's effed up. Like after I found out,
mhm.
what the whole cause and effect. That's messed up, dude. I'm sorry. Regardless of like the crap you're saying in songs, the image, the everything, that's still messed up,
It's
dude.
like we talked about last week with Harrison Butker. Um, you have the right to say what you want to say.
Mhm.
Um, and we don't have to agree with what you say in order to um, respect your ability and right to say it. However, in this case, this is a little bit different than the Harrison Butker thing because he is essentially wishing death on another human being. Now,
And not only
whether that's part of the image or not, I guess my question is: you've seen the video apology. I put that in air quotes again. Was there any mention of, "Oh, I'm just trying to maintain an image"? We're a death
no,
metal band.
it was literally it was him being like, I took it too far. I shouldn't have said what I said, but here are my beliefs. And
Well,
then he sure
see, for me, from what I've read, he doubled down on.
yes, so that was the first video, and then he kind of went a little irate when other bands started backing him. So I can't remember. God, I can see his face. I know exactly what he looks like. I can't remember what band he's from. Jackson, what band is it Ronnie Radke? That dude, the metal band.
So here's a video that I did see where he says, I'm assuming this was made after the video that you saw.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but he says this is the second video I made weeks ago. The band never posted. The apology
Yeah.
video you all saw, I was forced to make. I actually told the band to fire me as I didn't want to apologize, as I didn't have anything to apologize for. The band said that if I left the band would be done. So for the band I made the apology video you saw. But this is the video I meant. I was shut down about posting this.
Thank you. Falling in reverse.
Okay.
They're a huge band.
So
I mean,
this guy made an apology video to try to save face so the band wouldn't fire him. And the band fired him anyway because he told the band to fire him. And then he made a video basically saying I didn't mean my apology and I'm really a bad human being. Essentially.
yeah, I I don't okay. This topic is very, very not just touchy, but I feel like every person, every generation, everyone has their own take on it. Um, and I will say everyone's being very vocal about it. I do think, like I said, it is very touchy, and the audience that they have, not a good idea. Like I said, it's anti-religion. So you're not going to have really any conservatives listening to your music. It's mostly going to be like liberals and left hand, like people that are going to be like open minded people. That's what I'm saying. And this is your audience. You know what I mean? That, and I mean, think how you want.
So it
And
sounds to
if
me,
you,
based on what you just said, it sounds to me like they fired him because he's essentially not in the same mindset as their base. Their base, if you're correct, is liberal and left leaning, then those people are going to be pro trans.
yeah,
And so if your vocalist is anti trans, that's going to be a fucking problem for your band.
yeah, I do honestly. Okay, say I had this opinion, right? And I made a fool out of myself when acting did all the shit he did. That is my family.
Mm-hmm.
Over so many years, this is your pride and joy. Pride and joy. Honestly, if it was me to keep doing what I love, I would bullshit an apology too.
Mm-hmm. But
I would.
my point is this. This doesn't feel like a first offense.
I don't know why
This
he
feels
stopped getting
like,
the
look,
votes.
dude, this is the last straw. Like, you've done, this is enough. Like, we've told you before. That's what it feels like to me, right? Like, you're
I
saying it's family. They've been together for 15 years, and then all of a sudden they just drop the guy because of a comment on the internet. It doesn't feel like that's what it is alone. It feels like this is part of a bigger pile of shit.
Someone commented on this article and it says, I think both can be true. He is free to say his opinion, and the band is free to kick him out over it. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences.
Absolutely. Freedom from consequences is what you mean. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have the right to say whatever you want to say. However, you need to be prepared for the shitstorm that happens after you say that.
I really
That's just the way it is.
Okay, I'm gonna come out right and say it. He's a dick.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But he's also known to be one.
So in
Just
the
like a few
grand
other dudes.
scheme of dick size in this topic, we have a whole lot of different sizes of dick in this topic. But for me, the guy that wants to burn somebody else to death is definitely the biggest dick in the story. However, he's not the only dick in the story. There's a whole lot of other dicks in this story. And the fact of the matter is, if you are willing to fire your vocalist the day before a major release, then why did you record with him in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that you're firing him not in a social media post, but with a comment in response to a post.
This is where I was getting. Everyone's a dick, okay?
Yep.
But fire him if that's what you choose to do. That's business move. I get it completely. That's your life, living, all the above. But being with someone that long, being family like that, you should not want to throw them completely in the damn dirt, as well as the band's image. You should have. There could have been a way to die all of it down and part ways.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless.
And that could have been done behind closed doors. It should have been done behind closed doors.
That's what I'm saying.
But again, the fact of the matter is, I believe, well, this is not the fact of the matter. This is my opinion. My opinion is there's more here than we're seeing. There's more under the surface, and this anti-trans comment was just the last bullet in the gun. So
apparently, I don't know where I read it at, but apparently there's been like talk of him just being a raging asshole to like just like kind of not stuck up, but like just like asshole, just asshole.
So here's something. This is a kind of a different look at this, Kadie, and I don't want to. I'm not wanting to talk shit about the genre, but as somebody who's looking at this from the outside, I'm not a death metal fan. I will never be a death metal fan. Okay, look. I forgot to even listen to the band until about 3 hours before we recorded tonight.
You listened? I'm so proud.
I did. I listened to the entire record even, okay? I got my aspirin right here, okay? But I listened to the whole record, okay? And yeah, you should be proud of me. That was agonizing for me. But here's,
See, and that's when I'm like, hey.
and I liked the music, not so much the vocals, but that's not
Well, I
my
don't like
point
that
here.
vocalist either.
Well,
No.
here's my thing. They were going to release a record, and then they fired the guy, and then they decided not to release the record, which was due to go out the next day. Then they re-recorded the entire record with new vocals and released it 7 days later. And nobody's talking about this.
No.
7 days! What do you mean? I get it. You have all the parts done except vocals. I understand that. But 7 days! You're not going to try to tweak the way shit sounds with a new vocalist? You're trying to tell me that this new guy is just going to come in and karaoke his way through the album? You're not going to tweak a drum part or a bass part? Nothing? Just re-record? Like, I was like, wow! I expected to see, like, 6 months later they re-released. And when I saw a week, I was like, oh my God! They didn't do nothing except add new vocals to it.
And for someone that's listened to literally everything, love him. I've always bragged on him and his vocals. He's not necessarily the best vocalist. He doesn't have a huge range of stuff, but you know that's him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always said about him.
I was just blown away. I was like, my God, imagine if I don't know, Adam Levine, Maroon 5, let's say he just went off the deep end one day, the day before Maroon 5 releases a record, and they fire him from the band, and then they hire Blake Shelton to come in and replace him on the record.
Basically.
You're trying to tell me that you're going to re-release the same record a week later with a different vocalist and not change anything except the vocals. There's no way. None.
See, okay, and
that's unprofessional to me. Hugely unprofessional.
This is where my opinion starts to kind of come into play. When I'm a Libra, right? I got the scales, okay? Here's the thing. Band, the repercussions, actions, everything after in the initial act. He's an idiot. Okay. CJ, idiot. Okay. And hate to say it, but there's a lot of people with worse opinions, worse ideas, and it's definitely not the first thing you've heard, so it's no surprise at this point, regardless of who it is or anything. So that's just like, yeah, sounds about right. You know what I mean? But then to have all of this other, I mean, come on. I don't know.
You know what's crazy? This might be one of the unique situations where everybody's repercussions are warranted. Mm-hmm. Like both sides fucked up. Both sides are facing repercussions. And both sides deserve what they're getting. Mm-hmm. Not so. Like, what else can we all agree on? Apparently, we can all agree that in Thy Art is Murder are all dicks. Who knew?
And also, everybody listening, this is a topic. Metal bands are not like this. Most metalheads you will meet are the nicest people you will ever meet.
Agreed.
I cannot speak for the others. The ones that are assholes are raging assholes, as we can see. But don't knock on metal just because of this.
Well,
branch out.
I'm gonna just my last word on this. I want to throw kudos out there for them taking a stand and saying, "Look, we're not about this anti-trans rhetoric." Okay, all about that. I want to give credit where credit is due. However, the way the shit went down, are these people not represented by anybody? Do they not have management? Do they not have social media influencers in their corner? Like, who's running this? Like, all of these people should be fired, to be honest.
What I find funny, like, there's a lot of, like, metal bands are not done the same way. Like I said, I mean, it's a completely different genre, completely different lifestyle, really. So not necessarily people have like social media managers. A lot of people run their own social media.
Mhm.
Like a lot of bands run their own social media,
I'm all about
But
that. I'm all about that. But these
I
guys
agree.
have to have management. They must.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know,
you
man.
can't get as big as these guys were and are. I
That's what
mean,
I'm
this
saying.
is a big band. This is not some backyard band. No offense to the backyard bands, because I know some fantastic backyard bands. Okay, not throwing anybody under the bus, but this band has management, and if you're paying management to manage you, then you have to let them manage you, because
Yep.
if you don't, this is what happens. You've hired those
Honestly,
people for no reason. Like, what are you doing? You don't do
I
this.
this has been a very sad thing for me.
I can
Like I said,
understand
this
that.
is
Yeah, I get it completely.
like this. I mean, who was your favorite band growing up?
Oh my gosh, you would not believe me if I told you.
Tell me.
Actually, I'd probably get some respect from you, Kadie, if I told you my favorite band growing up. Have you ever heard of
What?
a band called Rat?
No.
I loved Rat.
See,
Round and round, what comes around goes around. I'll tell you why. All right, anyway.
but imagine that.
Oh, on
Yeah.
that subject, real quick, Mom, I know you're watching. I knew about every single Rat cassette you ever bought me for Christmas because I knew your hiding spot. Right. Go ahead.
Um, you distracted me. What was I gonna say? That was funny.
Oh, you were talking shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, so
See?
as a like growing up with this, shut up. Growing up with this band, I mean, not really growing up. I mean, I guess so. I'm not really that old. Um, I guess so. I mean, I've been listening to them for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like literally. Okay, you know how you get all like you get new music, I get all excited about it, put it on repeat, then you don't want to listen to it again. This is the band. If I don't know what to listen to, I'm sick of all my music. I go listen to that. That's what this band was for me, and I can't even stand to listen to it anymore because of both.
Well,
Because like I don't want to listen to the new stuff because these dudes are assholes.
um, notwithstanding the things I have said about this, one last point. I know I said I was done, but I did want to point out that unfortunately, it's not very surprising to me to see that there are hateful people out there, um, like this lead singer, that make a mistake. And if this is in his heart, then that's in his heart. That's something that he's very unlikely not going to change, right? And
Mhm.
once you have that kind of hate for another human being in your heart, it's likely staying there. And what I dislike is the fact that these people that are clearly in the wrong are made out to be victims because of the people who disagree with their hate standing up for love. And then all of a sudden, the person that's the hateful one is the victim and not the person that was told to burn to death, who is the victim in this case. That is the victim, period. And nobody's talking about the fact that this woman and her child are the victims in this story. Somehow or another, this lead singer has become the victim in this story. And that happens way too much in society, where the person that has done the wrong, instead of standing up and being responsible for that wrong, are lauded for the wrong instead of not necessarily boycott. I don't necessarily boycott people. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we shouldn't be celebrating obvious wrong. And this is an obvious wrong,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
All the way around.
Again, I think the focus should always be on the hate, and how can the person who created the hate to begin with, how can they possibly get that hate out of their heart and maybe become a kinder human being out of this situation? And for
Hold on.
me, I'm not seeing any of that in this. You know what I mean?
You want to hear something really ironic?
Sure.
One of the albums he did vocals on is literally called Hate.
I mean, I understand that there's a place for the message,
No, yeah, I know.
you
I
know?
just think that's a little ironic.
But again, when 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 you are when you are creating a message or a brand or whatever it may be, and you're being more vague with that, that's cool. If you are openly calling for the heads of Christians, that's a different fucking thing altogether.
Yeah.
If you are openly targeting a singular human being and wanting to burn them to death, that's not the same thing as creating an image or a brand or a message in a vague way. There's a difference. And
And not only that, like, who's to say anyone's going to see that? You know what I mean?
mhm.
Because that could have easily gone unnoticed.
And I think this is definitely a very unique situation in that it is a death metal band, right?
Mhm.
And if he had come out and said, "Look, I'm just trying to be on message here. Like, this is what we do. This is who we are. I'm just selling the brand." But that's not what he did. This was clearly a personal belief, which is cool. You can have a personal belief, even if it's wrong, even if it's hateful. If that's what you personally believe, believe that. Have at it. If you want to be an atheist, be an atheist. If you want to be trans, be trans. It's whatever. Have your personal beliefs. But once you start openly targeting people and attacking them with your hate, that's where it should end. That's the end of it. That's
And
the
that's
end of that person. Because again, it's very difficult to change that kind of heart.
Like you said it great. You can have whatever. It's not when he is canceled, not because of his belief, not because of what he thinks is right or wrong. He was canceled and fired over hatred towards a singular human being.
Right. And they weren't wrong. They're not wrong in that consequence that was presented. The band is not wrong in their right to not want to be associated with somebody who's openly targeting another human being.
Exactly.
They're not wrong in that. Where they are wrong is in the method they used to create the separation. It was bullshit. It should have been done in
Absolutely.
private. It's clear to people that are watching and following along, like yourself, that the cause and effect is going to be public, even if the firing is done privately. Oh, they've removed him as vocalist 3 days after he wants to burn to death a trans person's mother. Clearly, this is cause and effect. You don't need to fire him in public to create the cause and effect. People are smart enough to figure that out already. So do the professional thing and go behind the scenes. That way there's not any kind of confusion as to whether
And
this was a one-time thing or not.
take away we have the situation, take away the context, take away the death metal, take away everything. Say some shit went down with me and one of my band members. Say I'm in a band, okay, and I'm not the lead vocalist. I'm the lead vocalist, but it's not like my band. And say that happens to me, like they're firing me because of something I said, whatever. I would really hope that as a band family, as somebody that I've been playing music with for years, would have enough respect to like sit down and do it.
Mhm.
Like,
And here's my what I think.
and not even
If
respect,
if
just like
this was the
love for
first
that
time,
person.
Kadie, if this was a first time thing between you and a bandmate, and this was the first time that you've ever been wrong or hateful or anything in consequence to the rest of the band, if this was a first time thing, it's very likely that your band is going to sit down with you and say, "Hey, Kadie, look, that's not a real good look. Like, can we not do that? Can we not portray that? Like, our fans are left, and we have to be happy, or we have to, play to our base. Could we not do that? If this was a first time thing, that's likely what would happen to you if you messed up. That's why it leads me to believe this was not a first time thing. Like,
Well, I know there's probably been, crap going on within the band, and I follow him personally, like on Instagram and social media and stuff. I'm big. I'm telling you, like big into the band. Like I feel like I know these guys, but like it feels like cause and effect, consequences, all the above. But at the same time, I just like I don't know. I'm not necessarily I'm too forgiving, but I guess I'm maybe too loving. And like if Chris, say if me and you were like, if you I don't want to do this podcast anymore, I'm not gonna go live and say,
yeah,
Chris F me over, blah 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 blah.
of
We're gonna
course.
sit here even though we might be screaming at each other, hating each other, whatever.
Mhm.
We're gonna we make it work. And regardless of, whether you agree, disagree, regardless if this is the first, second, millionth time, like none of this should have happened the way it did.
Not in public.
And
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that just feels to me like one person in the band felt like they had the biggest stick in the band. And let's just, I'm done with this. I'm going to out this guy and that's it. And it was a mistake. And golly, I shouldn't have done that. And I guarantee you if they do have management and they should, then they got on to him for all of that.
I think I think so. I know Sean, uh d- he's the bass player. He's been there since 2006.
Just don't send him
Um
to Nebula, by God. He'll be dead within a year. You know what I mean?
I, only him and uh and the drummer have been originals, like original people.
so,
So I'm sure.
so the drummer and the bassist is the one that fired him publicly. They were the founders of the band that were still in the band.
Yes.
Okay. So,
So
well, there's that, right? So, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that this was handled wrong from the band's perspective. I would have loved to have heard something from their side saying, you know what, we stand by our decision, but we should have made the decision privately, and we should not
is
have
this
involved everybody.
yeah, and I don't know, there's a lot. Like I said, the vocalist from Falling in Reverse, there was a picture of, I mean, just like a week after it happened. It was CJ standing in the middle with his arm. I don't remember who the other guy was. I think it was the vocalist from Slaughter to Prevail, Alex Terrible, which he is insane and huge. Like if you know anything about metal, you know who this guy is,
Mhm.
whether it's this heavy or not. And then Falling in Reverse isn't really that heavy, but they're huge bands, like bigger than Dire is Murder, and it's him and the two vocalists, and they're just standing in a picture like a week after, you know, like
Well, you brought a good topic to the show, Kadie. Very, very
me.
good. Good job. And again, I think this might be the first time, it would probably be the only time in the history of the show where everybody involved in the story is absolutely in the wrong. So weird.
Yep.
So weird. So, what do you got planned coming up after tonight?
This week or next week? This week, because next week
Whenever.
we'll be talking again.
Yeah.
Well, I said I'm getting new teeth. I'm really excited about that. Y'all are probably going to be able to tell anyway, so who cares?
She's getting new teeth, y'all. She's gonna be Little Wayne. We're gonna
When I
call.
come on here and you can't see me because my smile,
Yeah, we're gonna have to get like
I, when,
a
my,
like a filter for her camera or something.
when my teeth end up whiter than my skin.
We're all gonna have to wear shades. So for me, I
What
have
about you, my
I
dude?
I have a oh my gosh, I don't know if you've seen my schedule for the week. I put it out on social media. Oh man, what a week. I'm nervous, not because of the people I'm talking to, but because if you guys didn't know out there, we record on Discord. And this is Katie's first time on Discord. It's a fabulous app, is it not?
This is literally the only reason I use it, so I've not ventured out.
But it's
I need to.
seamless, right? I mean, it doesn't mess
Yeah.
up. Like it's beautiful, and um, I'm just nervous because I have two Discord interviews Tuesday and Wednesday this week, and Just nervous that they're not going to get it, like the Discord. Like they're not going to download it. They're like, you know what I mean? Like just nervous about it
I
because
love
it's
it.
new. It's new, and it's like trying to convince somebody to interview them is it's really difficult because that's a lot of trust you're giving to somebody else. And so a
Mhm.
lot of times when you're asking somebody to let them interview them or let me interview them, you're asking for trust from that person, and many times from a person you've never met, never interacted with. So there's
I
always
mean, that's
that.
how they're gonna portray you. You know what
Right.
I mean?
It's very difficult. Like they have to know that I'm not going to ask them a really bad question, and I get
Mhm.
that. So it's hard to get over that hurdle. First of all, you know, but then the technological hurdle of learning a new app and Discord and all of that, like it can be very overwhelming, especially to people that are older than me, and even in my age. Like being 47 years old on Discord is, I mean, the only reason why I'm here is I'm a gamer, I'm a streamer, so like I have a community on Discord. So I love the app, and I streamed for 3 years before I took the plunge to get a Discord. So I'm just nervous that even though I have a lot of these folks scheduled up, that they're going to back out because of the Discord factor. So that's a little nerve wracking to me.
It's
Third,
so they're stupid as hell.
well, I hope they're not. So
I mean, honestly, as somebody personally, the first thing that comes to mind is Skype, and as somebody that's used Skype a million times, I hate it. So any
and everybody knows Skype and Zoom, and I feel like Discord is way better. I've used all three.
and I've used Zoom too, but not for like this,
Right,
like work stuff. Like I'm sitting here, I'm talking to 20 people.
right, right.
That I mean, it's good
So
for that, but like on like
it's like
an
I
interview
told
basis
somebody, I
like
said,
this.
once I get through the month of June, I will know if my format is viable or not. Because I have, I think, 5 Discord interviews scheduled. So if I get through June and I have 5 freaking episodes in the book, then we're good to go. But that's what I'm nervous about. I don't get nervous about talking to people. Like, I don't, it's like you
Yeah.
said earlier, we're just all normal human beings.
Mhm.
So I might get a little nervous coming up to it, but I get nervous when I talk to you every single week. Like, it's
Aw.
not necessarily that I'm talking to you, it's just the fact of how much energy it takes to be entertaining and
Absolutely.
engaging for an hour and a half or whatever.
Absolutely.
And then I know, personally speaking, I will crash after this, and I'm sure you will too. Like, this is really difficult to be talkative for this amount of time. And we both have introvert in us, even though we're both extroverts when we have to be, you know?
When we have to be.
That's
That's the
right.
key. When we have to be.
That's right. It's called ambivert, if you want to know. When you're both and you're whatever the situation calls for is what you are at that moment in time.
Right.
I've always called myself an introverted extrovert because I,
Yeah.
I would prefer not to be around people, but then I
Yeah.
desperately need human contact at times as well. It's so
Same.
weird. Yeah, it's so weird.
Same.
I know people out there are going like this right now. So comment down below if you just found out that you're an ambivert and you made it this far through the show. Comment down below. Also, we are looking for topics. If there's something you would like to hear us talk about, let us know. You can either comment wherever you found this episode, whatever platform your social media is at, or you can email me at thechrisandkatieshow@gmail.com. If you want to be a sponsor, you can do that. If you'd like to have a commercial read by one of the hosts of this show, you can contact us through there as well. Again, huge props to HyperX for letting us put your logo here on the screen right below my beautiful purple hair. Oh my!
It is so gorgeous today.
Thank you very much, Kadie. I love you.
I love you.
It's like my wife said earlier before we recorded. You are my bonus daughter. And Jackson, thank you for sharing her with us. I don't know if he can still hear us or not.
He can hear me, but I'm loud. I'm echoing throughout the
Fair
house.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll tell him.
I do know that. Do you still have merch for sale?
I do.
Where can people
You can
find
go
that?
out, check out the website.
Where's the website?
KadieLynn.com.
KadieLynn.com, and we have that in the description below.
I do have new T-shirts that are not on there. Also, that
Okay.
are If you're a little hard rock gal like me, it's a little metal
So what
logo.
I'm gonna need from you is my T-shirts that have your face on them are from when you were like 13. So we definitely need to meet up. Did you see our merch on your mom?
I did. She wore it over to my house.
Pretty badass,
She wore
right?
it. She wore it to my show on Friday
Oh, I'm so super proud of
or
it
Saturday.
because that's the
It's
first. Go ahead.
it's really nice too. It feels really good, and the tumbler's really cute.
Cool. So I'm really proud of that. This is the first merch I've ever made where the design of the logo was mine. I made it. So I made
I
the
like it.
logo, I put it on a shirt and the tumbler and all that through Teespring, of course, but every single piece of merch I have in my store was always made by a different graphic artist, like a professional. So I was
Mhm.
super nervous that your mom was going to get her stuff and it was all going to be like falling apart and shit, you know?
No, it
So
looks great.
I'm so
It looks
happy
great.
that it looks good. So that's good. And I'm hoping to get
Like,
some myself. We have to sell more merch so Kadie and I can afford to buy our own merch. I kept
for real.
telling Louise, I said, if I could just sell a few more T-shirts, I might be able to afford my own. So anyway, that'll be in the link, a link in the description if you want merch from either Kadie Lynn's website or from the show here. I also have merch on there for my gaming career. Also have merch on there for the other new podcast, 10 Minutes with Boston Chris, which finally have an episode out there. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Yup.
You did? What'd you
Mhm.
think?
First of all, I love him, and I think it was great.
Yeah, Luke
I
is
like it.
awesome. He's a good
I
guy.
loved him so much. I met him a long time
I'm
ago,
going to try
but
really hard to get you booked in the place where I interviewed him at.
I
I'm
did.
I'm so working on it, so we'll get you in there.
Bring it.
But anyway, guys, this has been episode number 7. God, it's just flying. Golly. Episode 7 of the Chris and Kadie Show, brought to you by Boston Chris and Kadie Lynn. Until next time, thank you very much for being awesome. And remember, kindness is effortless.
Absolutely.